Okay, this is Richie from the Metal Style Podcast. I'm delighted to welcome Jason and Roni from Words That Burn. Welcome to the show, lads.
Thanks, Reggie. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, delighted to have you back, Jason. I haven't met you before, Roni, so welcome to the show, man, and thanks for taking the time to come on.
Glad to be here, yeah. Looking forward to this.
Yeah. Exciting times ahead for you, I hope. That's probably one of the reasons why you're on the show tonight. We'll see how it goes, whether or not you're going to leave out any state secrets or not. It has happened before. I can't promise that my interrogation techniques are up to scratch. It's been a week or two, but we'll see how it goes anyway.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so first of all, congratulations on For It Will. Absolutely, I think the standout track so far of the three you've released, that's my opinion. Wonderfully produced and sounding single, which is no surprise considering the quality you have released in the past as well. So you have a certain standard that you have lived up to and excelled at now at this stage. So well done, lads.
Thanks very much. It was when we picked it as a single, we were kind of saying this might separate the crowd a little bit, because
really?
It was a little bit different to what we were doing before, because with Den of Lines and with You're On Your Own, it may have been a little bit more of a Words That Burn sound that people were kind of familiar with a little bit. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Den of Lines, with For It Will, we just went off on a slightly different tangent, particularly vocally, where it was a little bit more kind of talky or rappy or whatever way you want to call it, which is different to anything we've ever done before. But the one rule was we just had to have the big chorus. Yeah. So once it gets to there, we're okay.
And what about the programming of it? Maybe even the kind of dancey elements in it, electronic elements. Who works on them more so than...
Shane had all the music kind of done before I started doing any vocals on it. And the reason why it kind of came out the way it did is because it kind of sounded like it fit over the kind of the verses were a little bit more kind of trippy or a little more dancey, as you said. And when we started doing the vocal demos, it just kind of felt natural to do kind of rappy, I don't like saying rap because it's not rap, but it's not singing either. It just kind of felt like it flowed with the music.
That's interesting that you were prepared to change your style a bit. It was the music was dictating the way you were trying to figure it out vocally, we'll say. Yeah,
well, if you don't try these things, you kind of kick yourself afterwards that you didn't try them once.
Absolutely.
When they're recorded and they're produced and they're mastered, you kind of go, Beck, why didn't I do that?
Yeah. But I mean, you were self-producing anyway, weren't you?
No, it was we recorded it all at home. Well, in the home, it being in Shane's studio.
Yeah.
But it was Josh Schroeder who produced it.
Okay. So we'll just stick at that for that track alone, Roni, for the moment. For It Will. So when he got that, did he come back to you with suggestions in relation to maybe how it should change, or was he just overall happy and he just had to do a few tweaks?
For this particular track, there was a few tweaks, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it didn't dramatically change the structure of the song. In fact, I think he kind of just added a few more things to the music, but more kind of more ambient kind of things, or brought out stuff that was maybe buried in the demo mix or in the recording mix.
Yeah.
And so when we heard all the songs without the vocals on them before we heard them with the vocals on them, just to make sure everybody was happy. And I remember listening to it on my system downstairs, and I was like, I don't remember that being there,
Yeah.
But so
I think the thing with Josh is he was always very pushing on if we're going to go for something, go for it. These parts of the songs might have been a little bit different to what we're used to, but if we're going to do it, So
yeah, you'd need someone like that, because I mean, as I said, you probably were sick to date of them at that stage, the songs, especially if you were doing a lot of it yourselves and, you know, fresh pair of ears and someone that you'd respect, you'd appreciate his input in relation to whatever suggestions he gives.
Yeah, there was nothing really that he came back with that we didn't say, oh, we don't like it. You know, but that's because like it fitted what we had already done pretty much all the time. So like it wasn't like we were having a back and forth. Like, you know, see that bit? I don't like that bit, and then he would say, well, I do like that bit. You know, everything that was kind of added or even taken away in cases, it was actually it just fitted the song. But you're right, it's the fresh ears kind of thing, because you're so like, we recorded this whole album over the course of, I'd say, a year. Yeah. So you hear this demo over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. So
you're just so used to it. Yeah. And then when you have somebody else kind of like pitching in or suggesting things, you're kind of like, why didn't we see that? You know, or you know, that's what, you know, what you're paying a top producer to do, is to do this exact thing. Yeah, exactly. And of course, then when you all agree on the changes, and then like, what was it like then? Which gig was it that song was played live for the first time? Can you remember?
Cork. So
was it really Cork? Class. Okay.
We had maybe rehearsed it a few times. Like, I think the last time I was talking to Richie, we were like, we had recorded the songs, but we hadn't played them all together. Besides like Den of Lions, we had done You're on Your Own by then, you know, so we were ready for the second single. But when it came to this one, it was literally like Fired Will came in just in time for the Cork gigs. So we're like, the song's coming out, the Cork gig's on. It's kind of the perfect time to try it out. And it is like, it's a bit of a different song, single wise for us, but as well live wise. There's definitely a different feel to it. So we were
sonically, is it more heavier?
It's a lot slower than our other songs. So one thing I noticed when I got on stage is like, a lot of our songs are kind of surprisingly fast when you're playing them, but Fire Will was taken back quite a few BPM to what we're used to, but it's
So
it was interesting to get the feel for that live on stage. It's probably one of our slower songs, but at the same time, it still had a really heavy impact because, you know, it's big riffs
and big chorus as well.
We thought we'd save it for Cork. That was going to be a special gig regardless, and then we sold out the gig, which made it even better.
Yeah, shout out to Evan at Dead Cult.
Yeah. So just another fucking amazing sold out gig on his behalf, and us and the fans that were there was Survivalist, Outsound, and Chemical Addiction. It was just a great night all around. Each band was having a whopper time. There was a great crowd. And then we got to try out our new single that just popped. So it was like the perfect night, you know?
Yeah. And how many songs did she take down to Cork? Was it 8, 7? Can you remember?
We played for an hour. So.
Oh, okay. Jesus, that was a nice length.
10? 11?
Yeah, 10.
Wow, class, lads. Apologies for missing it, but I had a good excuse. I was up at Belfast listening to more music. I do get around a fair bit. So shout out to Survivalist and Chemical Addiction and Outsound as well, fronting the whole Survivalist there for the lads. What had you seen any of those bands before? Definitely hadn't seen Chemical Addiction. I'm aware of that because like, they rarely played.
I hadn't seen Chemical Addiction before, and I bloody loved them.
Yeah.
Right down my street, like the kind of the grunge, the Alice in Chains kind of vibe, like that is just that. I could have watched them for 2 hours playing. I thought they were bloody amazing.
Yeah,
I thought they were amazing.
I think we played a gig with Outsound years before.
Really?
Was that Temple Moor Metal Festival? I may be completely wrong on this, but it was either Outsound or Chemical Addiction. I don't know. I think a few years before we played.
I think Chemical Addiction definitely played Temple Moor.
It could have been those, yeah.
One of those bands I think we played with, and then Survivalist. I went to one of their gigs before, so I knew they were fucking great. So
yeah. Shout out to Gav and all the lads. Yeah, they're a great band.
Yeah, man, they bloody hammered the place to the ground. They were fucking loud.
So, who did you come on? Did you follow Survivalist?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's a great fucking throw down there, you know. Come on.
It's a brave move, yeah.
It's not often we have to get in a huddle in the little bathroom, you know, go down to play, but that one was kind of like, right, lads, we'll be okay.
We'll be okay. Brilliant. And did you enjoy the gig in general? Like, was there weren't any nerves or anything like that? It was just more or less a kind of celebration of kind of the last few months of finally be able to get down to Cork and play some proper fucking metal. Like,
it was absolutely brilliant. It was so good. Like the crowd were just brilliant. Like, I mean, I don't think we could have asked for a better reaction at a gig. You know, like the three bands that played before us had the place they had the crowd warmed up. Like,
yeah,
you know, when Survivors were playing, like, I thought there was going to be plaster coming off the ceilings. Like, you know, It was and you know the crowd's like, I mean, it's small, it's really hot.
Yeah, there's no fucking hiding place there. Like,
there's no hiding place, you know, and you know, you can nearly see the perspiration on the floor, like. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, Jesus, like, Cork is my favorite place to play. I have to say that, and just everything we played there, I thought was great. And what a way to come back! Like, I thought it was absolutely amazing.
What a great way to come back. I'm going to play it for it, Will, because we've been talking about it so much. I absolutely love the intro and the way it takes off from there. But let's hear it anyway. Okay, Roni, I'm going to grill you there for lyrics, man, because poor old Jason couldn't fucking... had no answers to me the last time, man. And he was very noble about it, to be fair. So I must stay in love with this pain as torture goes. I know this is the way I want this, so all my mistakes and all of my sins are forgiven. Personal lyrics, or are they just open for the general population to read into them yourself?
I think it's a little bit more. I think it's just a little bit more commentary than anything else.
Okay, commentary.
It's kind of like, you know, and like I kind of came up with the idea of what you know, kind of flicking through comment sections on Facebook.
Really?
You know, it's kind of like, you know, you see people just kind of attacking each other, and you know, kind of nearly they're nearly kind of submitted into kind of backtracking on something they may have said.
Right. Okay.
You know, and which isn't really cool, because everybody's entitled to their opinion, and just because, you know, your opinion doesn't necessarily go in line with somebody else's, like, and you know, they kind of just attack you over it, or you know, make you feel like a piece of shit over it, or something like that. Like, I mean, when you've probably said nothing that's necessarily wrong, whatever that means, but like something that, you know, maybe you're being honest about it. Like, you know, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. But I just like kind of saw that as, you know, kind of a really kind of fucked up way to kind of treat people, you know.
Yeah, and would that be in relation to the title as well? How did you come across that title for it, Will? Is that kind of a verbal assault, is it? Or
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. Like, I mean, it's that's exactly what it is. It's you know, kind of if you kind of suck it up so much, you're just like, fuck it, you know, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's enough examples of it out there, man, you know, with bullying online, etc. So, like, I mean, I think, I don't know where it was, where I was listening to it or something, that, you know, there's no real escape in relation to, for teenagers now, that if they are subject to online bullying, especially on social media, there's no real escape for them as such, because they constantly have their phone in their hands anyway, man. And whereas it was completely different for when I was growing up, you know, on the playground, you know, you might get into an argument, but you can certainly leave it behind and walk away from it, and you might have to deal with it the next day, or if it's the weekend, you have to wait till the Monday for it to fucking be resolved. Nowadays, it's
exactly, like, your home was your kind of safe place, you know. And like, I was bullied at school, and like, you know, I used to go home, and like, you're in your kind of castle, and like, you could leave the outside world behind you. You know, just for, as you said, like, I mean, until Monday, where like either it had to be addressed or you had to go back and then just get it again. You know, like, but you know, you don't have that now, because, you know, as you said, like, you're connected to this thing all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and it can have a very, very detrimental effect on people's mental health, and you know, it's horrible. Like, I mean, people shouldn't be treating each other like that, particularly on something that's supposed to be, you know, bringing people together, or, you know.
What were you saying, Jess?
Because, like, you know, people's lives are online nowadays, and it's just like, there's just always that feeling out there, you know, it's not the natural thing. You know, if people were sitting face to face having this conversation, people probably wouldn't be as, you know, malice as they are in the online world. And like, that's what I think a lot of people miss, is, you know, genuine people are on the other side of these things. You know, if you sat down and chat with them, you'd probably have a lot in common, sort of thing, you know. Yeah,
you're not allowed to even get that far in relation to these verbal assaults, man. So yeah, that's pretty cool, Roni, in relation to those lyrics. The video, had you fun making the video with Angle, the fifth member?
Yeah, what a boy.
What a boy.
He's just clued in, you know. He's really, really good at what he does, and, you know, it's fun watching him kind of going from behind the camera to tapping on the guitar, getting in front, and he's brilliant in front of the camera as well. He's so animated, you know. Like, I mean, I guess it's in his nature, or he's just been doing this for so long. Like, I mean, he can direct people to do these things, you know. So he has it just in his head, but he's deadly. Like, I mean, if we're fucking around or messing, whatever, he just kind of, you know, kind of checks us back into place.
Like, so did you come across him originally? Was it for the Riptide video, or was it before that? I know the Dublin scene is small enough, but because, like, you know, if you're good at doing what you're doing, especially with him in video, he'll rise to the top eventually. So was it just through Riptide you knew him, or was it before that?
So I can't remember how we came across him for Riptide, but we'd obviously stayed good friends since that, because it went very well, and that video was amazing for us. That song is, you know, that song's done the best for us as well. So we've always obviously did something right back then, and we stayed general friends for years. You know, like, he does a lot of stuff with the likes of Oran, so we're obviously seeing them two putting up work together, like, you know, with the Metal to the Masses stuff, and and obviously he does amazing work. So we all watch everybody on the scene who's doing good work, you know, because you're like, who's doing the best work, who's good to work with, you know, and who meets the kind of wavelength that we're putting out, I suppose, when it comes to the creative stuff. So, and then it was kind of like, it was Bloodstock that kind of bonded the friendship even more, you know.
He was there because he was there. That's right. Yeah, with Oran. Was it in the Overdrive capacity, or was he?
Yeah, so he was doing interviews and all that sort of stuff for Oran. And so we were over as a team with Oran at the weekend, and we got to catch some shows in between doing, you know, press or promo or whatever. And myself and himself had stood beside each other for Devin Townsend.
Oh, class.
That's when we realized, like, oh, we're good bros, you know, like, this is going to be a good friendship from here on, because we were just like having a great moment watching that and talking about music. And getting away because obviously COVID had happened. We're ecstatic to be in a field full of people listening to Devin Townsend, you know, with good friends that do good work, that got there on the, you know, on their own hard work. So it's a prime moment for everybody. And then when we came home, like we toyed around with the idea for a long time with second guitars, because it's a big sound we're trying to achieve. There's a lot of layers we put into the productions, and with our live show, we're always conscious of, we want it to sound like the productions. We want it to be, well, like as close as, but a really good live version of what the production is. So
that is difficult as a 4-piece, like.
Yeah, so, and like Shane's got a lot to do for one guitar in that kind of band. So it was interesting. Like when we asked him, we didn't really even think about him as a guitar player. We just got on with him as a, you know, as a person. So we didn't even know kind of what his skills were like, and it turns out he's a fucking great guitar player. So
these guys, huh? Jesus Christ, like.
No.
So like, along with his creative knowledge, and then when he stepped inside and with the band, he learned his songs fast. He could keep up with the two guys on guitar, which I don't know how anybody would do, but he did it, and like it all happened with ease. And that's the thing with us, we want to do the best we can with the people around us that are good at working, and he was one of those. It was just a perfect puzzle piece. And then you know, so then we've been getting him up and going with gigs and stuff, and he's been killing it, you know. He does a lot of help for us with the social media ends of things, like the big video productions and the stuff. Like, he is a great brain to pick when you want ideas, or if you want to, if there's something I can't do or we can't do, you know, no doubt he can fucking do it. So
fantastic addition all around then.
Absolutely, absolutely. And he can sing as well. So I'm mad to get him behind the mic.
Jesus, I mean, fuck's sake, like, I mean, talking about like there's a lot of coincidences happen with bands that I've interviewed that you just would be scratching your head going, how is that possible? And the fact that he is such a great guitarist and suited your dynamic, and crucially the band chemistry wasn't upset with him. That was
a huge thing. Like, I don't particularly care if somebody's, like, you know, super talented. Like, I mean, you can learn songs, you can get better, you know. But if you don't connect with somebody, like, you know, aside from all that, and it's just not going to work. But we were lucky enough that he just kind of like slipped in, one of the lads, you know, which is massively important.
Yeah, it is massively important. Now you've got a big gig coming up. You're playing the Academy with As I Lay Dying. What are the rehearsals like for that? Are you able to get together and do a rehearsal once a week, or is that?
Well, we sorry, Jason, go on.
Yeah, generally once a week. We were obviously with the Cork gig. That was a very big set. We wanted to enjoy that big time, so we did a lot of songs. So we've been spending since then kind of like refining what ones we want to bring to
that's the beauty of this gig coming up, isn't it?
This is the big point of the year, you know. Like, we've had some great gigs this year. It's not been a lot of them, but they've been great quality gigs, and this was always the one that was at the end of the tunnel, you know. So like we're having the last few shows on our back, like with Cork, you know, Sinead, and then we had one the end of last year up in Dublin. We really think we're in a good spot to go into this gig, you know.
Did you have 2 or 3 gigs lined up in England? Did they fall through, from what I can remember?
Yeah, it was just a logistics thing, really. It was just, you know, some plans slipped away, and in betweens of COVID restrictions of what you can and can't do, it just became possible.
Yeah, because I do remember seeing you advertising that there was a 3 gigs or something like that over in England or something like that.
Yeah, we'll get back. We'll get back at some point, like, you know, that just kind of suits us more.
So,
like, the UK is obviously the big one should be the big one for a lot of Irish bands' radar. You know, there's a big community of metalheads and bands and gigging circuits to get in there. And like, we seen that with Bloodstock, and the last time I was talking to you, like, that was our first taste of it. Like, we played shows in Scotland before, and they were amazing. Then we went on and did, you know, Bloodstock, and it was just like, why aren't we over here more? And you know, we definitely will be back there as much as we can.
There is a massive thirst for it over in the UK with Irish bands. You know, God alone now, they're playing Arctangent, which is fantastic with another band, By Curious. You're aware of them as well, surely.
Yeah. God alone's been killing it over there, you know, and they have the right.
I mean, signed to Prosthetic Records as well is fantastic news, isn't it?
That's unreal. Yeah. That's I was chuffed. I was really chuffed when I seen that.
Yeah,
because they put in the graft. Like, I mean, they're dedicated. Yeah.
So I mean, here's the crux really in relation to the As I Lay Dying gig. Like, he will definitely be trying to win over new fans. There will be people there that have heard of it as well, obviously. But you know, how is it, like 7 songs, 6 songs? Like, how long have you got? Did you even get that?
I'd say we'll probably tap out at 6 songs.
Okay.
You know, so we're kind of putting the set list together that is, you know, probably our kind of selection of our heaviest songs, like, you know, kind of tailored for that particular gig, you know.
Right. Interesting.
Whereas when we played in the same venue with Beartooth, like, I mean, we had a little bit more of a kind of like not necessarily a mishmash. Like, I mean, we still gave it socks, but, you know, we could put in songs that had maybe a kind of slightly slower pace, like White Smoke or something that was a little bit more pull back. Yeah. Whereas with this one, we're just kind of cherry picking all the big ones. You know,
I've been looking at the footage a lot of the Beartooth gig, and just kind of learning and seeing how the crowd reacts to that, and like especially with the Cork gig, since we played such a long set, we kind of got to see like the mixture of what songs are good live. And going into this one, you know, it's an interesting mix of songs that we're going with, but it's compared to going into the Beartooth gig where we're just, you know, playing the best of what we had. Now we have that great selection of different songs for different vibes in the set.
And of course you have a second guitarist now, which certainly will make it a lot more interesting as well as a stage presence. There might be a little bit less pressure on you, Roni, you know what I mean? Angle flick in the hair, you know?
I just stand behind him. Like, do Maynard, just stand in the back. You know?
The main reason we got him into the band was for the fucking windmills he can do.
Oh yeah, I mean, it is very interesting to watch. Like, and he'll have plenty of room for it as well in the academy, man.
Yeah, absolutely. You won't get clipped on the end, like, you know, by the end of the hair.
And we forgot as well that he played The Siege. What was that like going back? Jesus, that was last year, wasn't it? Or was it?
It was the Halloween one last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We headlined I can't remember the name of the stage, but the second stage downstairs.
Oh, the Casbah, is it?
Yeah, I don't think they had the one upstairs open, so it was just
correct. You're spot on. Yeah.
So that was great. It was really good.
That was our first gig with Angel as well, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Or was the Dublin one? I can't remember.
I thought. Did he?
No, it was.
He played there, yeah. There's photographic evidence. Even though our memories might be shit, lads, but there is photographic evidence. Shout out to Shane. I think it might have been Shane Horan, maybe, that took the pics. Shout out to Shane.
It's exactly like it was, yeah. So that gig was great for us because, like, obviously that was our first gig back in Ireland after Bloodstock.
It was actually spot on, yeah.
The headline slot for it, which was really nice. So we were playing like Den of Lions, and we were just testing out You're on Your Own. So we were playing that to the Irish crowd for the first time, seeing what it'd be like, and it became the second single.
That's right, actually, yeah.
Siege of Limerick's always great. Like, it's the point everybody looks forward to in the year, you know, especially when you get that email and it's just like they ask you to play, and you just know you're going to have the best time because
it's like the fucking Willy Wonka golden ticket, isn't it? The golden ticket for Irish metal.
Yeah, absolutely. But you see, like, you've got your crowd there, you know, when you play.
Yeah.
You know, like, because everyone's there because they like heavy music. So it was brilliant. Like, I mean, I can't remember what band was playing on in the main stage, and we were kind of like, but I remember going, fuck. Like, they're on, we're on, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was dead. We had a great crowd for it. Brilliant.
And it's brilliant for not only the fans, but also for the likes of E as well, because you can get so much networking done.
Yes.
You know, it's such an important part of the Siege as well that just doesn't seem to get the acknowledgement, but the amount of networking members of bands do between each other, like it's great. Like, and friendships as well are formed because of it.
Yeah,
what I love about it is like John and them do such a good job. It almost feels like Irish metalhead, you know, NAMM that they have in America, where you get like all the best of the best come in, and you get to see whose companies are doing what. It's like that. Like I remember I walked in and who was playing Red Sun Alert were playing on the stage when I got there, and like I hadn't seen them in a couple of years, and they'd progressed so much. When I seen them, I was just like, how kick-ass it is to see like bands progressing over the years. You know, see people creep up on the lineup, even ourselves. Like we played Siege. I have all the posters together. I don't know, it's like 5 times I think we played it.
Wow.
Years, and it's just like seeing us creep slowly up from the bottom.
Yeah.
Then getting like the headline on the second stage was a really nice moment, you know. And, so it's just like, getting to see all the bands, see who's doing really well, because you're kind of like, I'm going to have you for a gig. And then, like, you know, it's the big day out for everybody, the best heads of the bands. Yeah,
it is definitely. And, you know, seeing, again, a band that goes from maybe upstairs or downstairs in the Casbah to getting onto the main stage and then hearing the big sound, suddenly it's fucking fantastic. You know, it really is.
Absolutely.
I mean, I thought I went to Cro-Mags and Worn Out there a few weeks back now, and seeing Worn Out on the main stage, and the sound they got was just fucking, the lads deserve that, you know. So
yeah, it makes such a big difference, like, you know, particularly when a band are really, really good at what they do.
Yeah,
you know, like when you put them on a stage that has a sound system deserving of that, like, I mean, it's you know, it just brings it more to life.
It does, it does, yeah. And you're like, you're rooting for them, you know. You really are, like, you're just going, Jesus Christ, this is so cool to see him on the main stage in the Warehouse, you know, from seeing him so many times elsewhere. But then, you know, because I mean, we all love the Siege for so many reasons, but, you know, seeing one of your favorite bands graduate to the main stage is just lovely, you know.
Hey, you feel proud, yeah.
So I mean, we were on about it there in the forums. I don't know, were you listening, Jason or Roni, to it in relation to how expensive it is now to see bands, especially in Dublin. You know, say for example, now going up to see As I Lay Dying, and yourselves, a lot of us now, unfortunately, will be just going up and coming back the same night. It's a pain in the hole because it's so expensive. And also travelling for bands, the likes of yourselves now heading down to Cork, petrol costs and stuff. Like, what do you think yourselves, the two of you? Maybe I'll throw it to you first, Jason, in relation to next year. How's the landscape going to change if it keeps going the way it's going with fuel costs and the fact that bands don't have maybe the option to stay overnight, you know, if they wanted to?
Yeah, it's a crazy one to look at, because like you mentioned the Cork gig, I don't want to say the numbers because it's very bloody sad to look at when you think of the petrol prices, and we obviously had to stay because there's no going back to Monaghan or Loud at bloody 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And like, you know, we're not afraid to do it cheap. You know, we'll go in and stay in a hostel and stuff like that, and we'll take a packed lunch if needs be, but you don't escape the fuel prices, and that alone would probably put most bands out of margins, or like people that are gigs out of margins. We obviously all can't jump in a bus, you know, and bring the equipment down if we're headlining, and I see it being, you know, like the dreaded word COVID, but how it's been since that, there's a lot of bands dropped off because they kind of seen what it was like to stay at home, do their jobs, do all this, and now we're at a point where it's just like, it's going to be nearly too expensive to leave your home when people probably need to do it the most. Like, bands need to get back out there and stuff, but it's definitely going to be a big wall to get over. Obviously, I hope something changes that it makes it better for us all. Like, I'd rather stay positive, and we're not going to stop trying doing it, whatever happens. If we have to bloody walk down, I'll walk it, you know? But it's just going to be a hard time for bands. It's never easy for bands, but it's the most innovative, I don't know, culture that I know is music bands, and especially bands in this country, because it's never been easy, no matter what you do.
Yes. Like, especially for heavy metal, anyway. Yeah,
you can't gig every weekend. You know, we have to fly to get to any other countries. It's expensive, but it's just like, we'll figure a way, you know. And the bands, like we've mentioned before, that are going out and kicking ass, like God Alone or Dead Label and stuff, it's just, we're probably going to have to pick and choose a bit more with gigs, but I don't see bands stopping or slowing down if they really want to keep going, you know. Like ourselves, you know, we'll find a ways and means to do it.
Yeah. I think the main thing is to, like, it's just about kind of, you know, organizing everything properly and in advance. You know, you can save for these things. You know, you can have your merch prepared. You can have your, you know, your Airbnbs done or your hostels, whatever. Like, you know, so it's not like you're kind of going to plan a tour of the UK, like, you know, today and go next week.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to do it 2 months away. You know, so like, as long as you kind of have these things planned, like, I mean, yeah, it's going to be expensive, like, you know, but it's very, very doable. You know, and then just hope people come to the gigs and buy your stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, if you have a good team there and you have good booking agent and things like that, like, I mean, it definitely maximizes your potential when you're over there.
Yeah, I mean, we'll say, look at Bloodstock, for example. That was last year.
Yeah.
How mad did it get for expenses for you as a band? You know,
I don't think it was too bad, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, we ferried over and we drove to Bloodstock, and I'd say the most expensive thing was the hotel, and it wasn't really that massively expensive, you know, because we booked it well on. Like, we knew kind of we were playing months in advance,
right?
You know. And I'd say I probably spent more money on beer when I was there.
Festival, man.
You know, but that's throwaway money. You know, that's
of course, that doesn't come into
money.
Yeah.
The great thing about Bloodstock was they're so accommodating. Like, if I couldn't bring anything, they could organize for me to have, like, you could rent cymbals from them. You could, you know, they would hand you a pair of drumsticks. You know, like, they would get you going. And like, so all we had to do was bring a carload of stuff, so I could bring, you know, most of the kit was there. All I had to bring was cymbal, snare, you know, pedals, whatever. Yeah. And it's very easy to do in a carload of people going over, and the ferry, and like, fuel prices weren't so expensive then either. So that was it.
Yeah, well, that was probably a massive decider in relation to keeping the costs down.
Yeah. I mean, sorry.
What Ronan said, just we budget smart. Like, thankfully we have, like, Jer, especially, the guy has the most amazing brain for planning things. If we have something coming up and we're like, oh yeah, we're going to do this gig here and here, he's just like, he thinks of all the what ifs and, you know, the organization and the budgets and stuff like that. Like, he's very good at doing that sort of stuff. So we usually trust him to do it, and he finds the best thing for us. And you know, we're not going to live a lavish one, but also at the same time, like, we're not going to be sleeping on floors. We need to have good backs. We need to be in good spirits for playing gigs, you know. So but yeah, just smart planning. Like, that's like same with N, you know, it's all this band stuff you do. If you don't plan it, you're just juggling stuff in the air. You never know what's really going to happen. So
yeah, I'd say probably, and you know, no offense to anyone, but like, it's the younger bands that will just get caught in relation to not planning enough and having way too much of a good time, and you know, it's I think they'll have to grow into it, lads.
Yeah, that's not necessarily for the younger bands. Some people in non-younger bands do it, but except they don't drink before playing anymore. So that's a good thing. That's a big one for me.
Yeah,
I think the main thing for quote unquote younger bands, you know, like, or any band just starting out, is just patience. Like, it takes time. The most of the stuff you're seeing big bands doing, they planned that last year. You know, like, just because something's coming up now doesn't mean it needs to happen now, you know, and like, that'll really take the stress out of people jumping into decisions. So if you can plan way more months ahead, if you can give yourself time to prepare those things, like, then, like, because we're not all, you know, all of us are working day jobs, all of us have life and stuff to do. So it's like, if you're going to make time for a hobby, it's kind of the same as that. Like, give yourself a bit of a budget, give yourself time to plan it out, so it doesn't take away from your lifestyle and whatnot, but it, you know, hopefully enhances it. So same with with younger bands, just like the patience to wait a wee while. It'll still be there. England's still going to be there next year to tour if you want to go over, you know. It's like, you can get there eventually, and if you plan, it'll be better for you, in the long run. And same with everything, like when it loops around to anything you do for a band, like social media and stuff, like I try to be thinking months ahead, because I don't want to be constantly worrying about having to bloody post stuff or be on top of bloody trends or anything like that. I'm just thinking about what do we want to do, what time do we need to do it, when's the right time for it to come out, and it takes the stress off big time, and I think it comes across a bit more professional,
Well done, man. Great words of advice there. Did you, because there is hints of the artwork being brought out with the singles, so maybe you could tell us a small bit about that. I think it was it February that you put up this post looking for an exciting creative artist to collaborate with you. How did that go, and did you actually find the artist through that advertisement?
We did. We found a guy called Stephen Lindsay.
Steve, yes, Darren Parasite. He's been on the show. Yeah, lovely guy.
Exactly. So we had a lot of back and forth with him. He had some great ideas based on a conversation, like not even a conversation, an email that I kind of sent to him with the general theme of what we were kind of going for with this album. And he came back with, kind of 4 or 5 or 6 different ideas. And there was one in particular that we liked and that we worked on. And then, we got the album artwork of him a couple of months back. So.
Wow. I'm delighted, man. And he's an Irish artist as well. So that's great news.
When he sent me his portfolio, I was like, Jesus Christ, this stuff is fucking good.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really good.
When we put the big question, like the question out looking for an artist, it's like we were just really curious to see who would like to work with us, because like if somebody sends you their stuff and they want to work with you, like obviously they're getting a job out of it, but it's like who's kind of interested, and you could see that in the emails and the people had sent them their stuff. There was people that were just like, they were so wanting to be involved, and so many talented people. Like it was hard to choose from, but
that's great, man. Like I love when a band would literally have the balls to throw that out and go, let's see your stuff, rather than go the other way and be actively looking across Christ knows how many different platforms trying to find art. Whereas get a guy in and look at all we'll nearly say the CVs of their work, and then try and work with that person then to come out with the final product. It's a great story.
Sorry. It was a really interesting process, because I didn't look up any of the pages or the people's name tags. Like when you're going through the things, you're just looking at it and seeing what kind of clicks with you on a creative level. And like obviously all of us had our taste to come into it, and it was funny how we all just kind of came back to Steve at Iron Parasite. It was just like that was just it, and
all 5 of you, really?
Yeah. Like I was one of the demo, one of his pieces that he had sent in his portfolio. That was just like that was kind of what we were chatting about before, and it was like it's so interesting because I was aware of his work, but I don't know if we would have went and chatted to him if we didn't do it the way we did. Him coming to us and like the way he talked to us and stuff. It's kind of like we spoke about Angel coming into the band. It's kind of like it clicked. It was the right thing. Everybody had a good mindset and wanted to work towards this goal, so it's just like that's what you like to do. And another Irish person, an artist, it feels even better keeping the Irish people, us going strong together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a great I didn't know he actually chose Steve, so I'm really happy to hear that.
And I think there was one, because he's got quite a vast portfolio of work. You can look at it, see it on his website, and there was one particular one that we all kind of went something like that, that kind of idea is really, really good, so and that wasn't we were probing each other. We all kind of just went kind of locked in on the same.
Amazing.
One, and not telling you which one it is though.
Well, that's fine. But again, would you say that the quality of artwork that you received, it made it worth the effort to go down that route? Why I'm saying that is maybe other bands or people that are watching the show should try that.
Definitely. Absolutely. because like it's kind of like when you're writing music, you know, you kind of you can, when somebody else is kind of like Josh, for example, is looking at it, he can see you might be too close to it yourself. So when you have another artist, or you might have your own kind of visual ideas, but when somebody comes in and kind of listens to the song maybe or reads the concept and they go, aha, I have this idea.
Yeah,
you know, like you kind of you might get something that you've never really seen or thought of before. So I think it's really important to explore that, because you can be just maybe too close or too locked in one idea.
Yeah.
One thing I think about a lot when it comes to making those decisions is like, we're a band and we're musicians. Like I'm no artist, you know, like artists in certain ways, and like we can see the creation, we know what the songs mean and feel and whatnot, but it's like someone that can actually put, you know, ink to paper, or has spent their life, you know, honing their craft like we have with the music side of things. Like, why not put yourself out there to meet those people? Because like they are going to bring it on further probably than you ever could. And you know, we see that there's so many talented artists, and like that was the other thing too. It's like it wasn't just like we need album artwork and we want to give somebody a job. It's like I now have a list of about 10 or 15 amazing artists in Ireland that I'd be like, well, you know, merch ideas, poster, you know, anything like that, you know, and like I'm aware of all of them now, and because they were professional enough, you know, to come to us in that situation, it's kind of like they want to work, we want to work, and it's like I have a list of people that I know works and it's high quality, and it's like with, you know, you were saying with the networking at Siege of Limerick, it's just like we've opened up a big book of networks. So
it's fantastic. I mean, like I've always championed artists on the show as well, man, because they're such a vital part of the whole heavy metal scene, because they're making the concept for the musicians who can't obviously do the artwork themselves, but they have the story to communicate to the artist, and then it's the artist then to visualize it and work with all of you to make something special, you know. And it's a great process.
Well, it's the wrapping on the parcel, really, isn't it? Like,
it is.
So, you know, if you have something that's appealing to somebody, they're going to open it, hopefully, you know.
Yeah, oh, fuck it, 100%, especially with heavy metal. It's vitally important that they have, a band has something that will catch your eye, especially with selling merch, vitally important. And if you have a really good thing on the t-shirt, that'll start the conversation. It'll start the conversation in a festival. It'll start the conversation in a pub on a street. You'll see something coming towards you going, that's a metaler. And that's a fucking cool piece of work.
Yeah, you know? You've already got something in common, you know,
Yeah. That's like, we're going to Brutal Assault now, man, and that's my wardrobe is down there, and it'll be just all Irish artists, Irish bands, and I'll be going over there, and I can guarantee I'll meet like 12, 13 people straight away going, fuck it, they're cool. I've heard of them. You know? Why would you go to fucking foreign festival wearing Slayer or Metallica? That's my idea. It's just fucking, I'm going to be wearing Irish bands. I'm going to be going over there, and that's, you know, we'll see what happens.
The best feeling in the world as a band, seeing the likes of yourself or somebody else wearing your band t-shirt away, doing something that you do as your own, you know, on your own as a person. It's like, even if, you know, the bands never get tagged, or I just happen to see it because we're friends, you know, on Instagram or something, it's the most heartwarming feeling seeing that happen, because like nobody needs to go wear some small Irish band over there. You could put on your Slayer one and you'd have every perfect Slayer action. But like, you know, there's all times we get messages like Glenn Bollard was at a festival, I can't remember what one it was, but he emailed us and he was just like, I just seen somebody wearing a Words of Burn hat. And it's like some random dude decided when he got up that morning, I'm going to put on Words of Burn hat, go to this festival. And it's like, you know, that means a lot to us, you know.
Yeah. It's fantastic to be able to do it, you know, and to fucking proudly wear Irish bands, be it on your hat, your fucking t-shirt or whatever, or your back patches and stuff. You know, just, you know, for anybody just going to Bloodstock, wear Irish fucking t-shirts if you're watching this show. So, anything else, lads, before we wrap it up?
Jason, do we have anything else?
Just the main thing for us is the big end of the year. Like, it's not the end of the year, but it feels like it to us. You know, as LA Dying's coming up, it's our second time getting on
August the 9th.
August 9th, yeah, in the
August
Academy
9th,
in Dublin, with our good friends Dream Awake. They're playing first, then we're on second.
Okay.
And then As I Lay Dying, and it's, we're just excited to celebrate a really good year. We've had 3 songs out now,
3 brilliant songs. Fantastic.
We'll have some exclusive merch for this gig, by the way. Just
nice, good to hear.
Yeah,
I'll be making a purchase. Then you can send on the link later.
We'll save you one, Richie, for sure. But yeah, so we're going to have some special merch for that night. Hopefully, we'll have pictures and stuff of that soon. I was hoping to have it for tonight, but it's a bit more closer to the time. But yeah, we're going to have new interesting merch there. It's going to be very limited stock, so we're hoping sell them out at the gig. Come along and celebrate a big night.
There you go, man. So I'm sorted for brutal assault. I will have some form of words that burn on me in brutal assault. Is that what you're saying to me, Jason?
Top the toe.
You're not going unless you get some.
So, is there tickets still left for that gig?
Yes.
Okay, and how do people get them? Is it through DME or where are they for sale?
Ticketmaster.
Ticketmaster, okay.
Any of our posts that are on any of our social medias, they're in all the comments. I put in the tickets for our next upcoming gigs. So any of the most recent posts, you find it there, or if you're on Instagram or anything like that, it's all in our bio. And
we don't have a release date yet for the album. Is it going to be 2023, or can you tell me, is it going to make it into 2022?
Well, we're going to have a couple of more singles maybe coming out, and we just want to release a few more songs before we drop the album. So, I think that's all I actually know right now.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
I'm not holding back.
No, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, Jason was saying that was your strategy anyway, just to keep releasing singles leading into the album release. So we're not sure yet if it's going to land this year or. And look, if it's next year, it'll definitely be at the start of the year, surely, lads.
Hopefully.
The only info we can give you is there is an album, so we're not just throwing out singles at you. There will be an album. Mm-hmm. There is artwork for that album, which is done by Iron Parasite. You'll see that soon, hopefully. An album name, and we can't tell you that either. But
that's fine.
But like I said to you before, we're nobody's ready for this album yet. So we're going to keep putting out singles, seeing what people think. Okay. And I think when the time's right, we're going to put it out. There's no rush.
Yeah.
It'll be worth the wait.
And I'd gladly promote as much as I can on my side for you as well. Okay, lads?
As they always do. Thank you.
So you've been listening to Roni and Jason from Words of Porn. Thanks again, lads, for coming on the show. And best of luck with the upcoming gig, As I Lay Dying, August the 9th, Dublin Academy. Get your tickets for it. And I'll see you further down the road, hopefully.
Right, thanks, Richie.
Good, lads. And crucially, support your local metal scene. Thanks, lads.
Cheers.